In this video, we will be learning how to set up the animations of the FPS movement system and all that. So we set up the FPS movement system as well as the 3D model and all the animations. We made some animations by ourselves. In this video, we will be able to make this. So yeah, without wasting time, let's get started. So here, as you can see, we have a brand new scene in which we have a main camera, a directional light and some post-processing going on. Nothing much. And then also we have some things over here. So this is the sample scene, that is this one, in which nothing is over here. Then there's the total info which comes with the HDRP. You don't have to worry about anything. Then we have settings. This is basically the post-processing. Then we have Playmaker. If you don't know what Playmaker is, then it's a really cool asset that helps you make games without writing a single line of code. It sounds too good to be true, but believe me, it is. And if you are my subscriber, then you already know. But this thing here is really amazing thing. If you want to try it out, you can just go ahead and buy it from Asset Store. But if you don't want to buy it, if you can't afford it, then you can also download it for free. The link will be in the description box below, where you can simply go ahead and download this for free. I personally will provide it to you guys. And yeah, and then we have this asset over here, and I will talk about it in just a second. But anyways, this is our simple new project. All right, now first things first, of course, we want to make an FPS movement system first, right? So you can of course make your own FPS movement system, but why? The question is why? Because Unity already provides you with a really amazing starter FPS movement system, and which is the standard assets. If you want this, because in the newer versions of Unity you can't get it, but in the previous versions you can import it from here, but in these versions you cannot have standard assets. I don't know why, but you can get this folder of standard assets in which I only have the FPS first person shooter character. You can just download it for free, because it is free, and I will link this folder right here. I will upload it on my Google Drive and you can download it from there. Same where you can download the Playmaker. So you can download these two assets. All right, so you can go to standard assets, character, first person character controller, prefabs, and in there you will find the rigid body FPS controller. Now before I drag this in, I will want to go ahead and 3D object and a plane, which will be a surface on which our player can stand. So here we go. I'm gonna make it a little bigger, bam, and then I'm gonna go ahead and drag out the rigid body FPS controller, and there we go. And if I play the game right now, everything basically should properly work. So here, as you can see, I can look around just like that, as well as I can move around. I can also jump around, and everything is properly working. All right, as you can see, I can jump and do all that stuff. One thing that I'm noticing right now is that suddenly the post-processing has just disappeared because of the new camera is in the scene, on which we don't have any post-processing. So I'm going to go back to the main camera in which I have the post-processing layer over here. I'm going to copy the component and simply paste the component back into the main camera, and now we have the post-processing over here. Now we no longer need a main camera, so I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to unpack the prefab so that it is no longer a prefab. I'm going to rename it to player. There we go. So everything is now good to go. There we go. This is provided by Unity, and you don't have to do anything. You are given this pre-built amazing awesome FPS controller. So go ahead and do that first. So once that is done, next up you will be needing an FPS arms or gun and all that. So how do you do that? Well, if you are a 3D modeler, you can go ahead and design them yourself, model them yourself, and then import it inside of Unity. But I am a 3D modeler, but I don't have that much of a time. So what I will do, and most of you should do, you should go to Google and go to Sketchfab. Sketchfab is a really cool, amazing site. By the way, it's not sponsored this video. If it would have, then that would have been really amazing. But I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna search for FPS hands. There we go. And there is an option which is downloadable, because some of them are paid and you have to pay them to download them, but there is downloadable, and there is also an animated over here, so you can download the ones that have animation. Okay, so I search FPS, and now you can see there are a whole lot of things over here. Now you can go ahead and download any one you want, and the ones which have this icon over here are downloadable, then you can download them. I have downloaded, let me see which I have downloaded. And you have to download the ones that have the same skin. All right, so you cannot use this one as a pistol and use this one as a rifle, because this has gloves on and no sleeves, and this has no gloves and have sleeves, so this is not gonna match. So you have to match the things. All right, so these two can be used. So I think I downloaded this one and I downloaded a rifle. So you can just go ahead and get in there and download the ones that you want. And as you can see, these also have the animations. So he is reloading, and you know, all those animations are over there. So idle, reloading, firing, and all those animations. So you can get those animations. Let me just go ahead and see which I have downloaded. I have an AK-47 model over here, as you can see. So yeah, and he also has the animation. So I'm gonna play the animation, and as you can see, the same kind of animation. He reloads, he does that thing, and amazing, really amazing. So once you downloaded that, you can just go, you will get a zip file. You have to unzip that and you will get this folder. You have to just drag it inside of Unity. You will have textures, and you will also have the source, which will be a 3D model. Okay, I don't think so I have to explain anything else. So I will go to the player, go inside the main camera, and drag and drop my 3D model of the arms and the pistol in the rifle in there. Now there we go. As you can see, make sure the position and rotation are 0, 0, 0. And now you can see, we can see the 3D model over here a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and reposition it. I'm gonna bring it down, and as you can see, it is being clipped. That is not what we want. So how to fix that is by going to the main camera and decreasing the near plane clipping over here. So I'm gonna set this to 0, and it automatically set to 0.01. Now as you can see, there is no clipping. I'm gonna go ahead and position it not the whole camera, but the arms. I'm gonna position them just like so. All right, so we don't have anything. Good. And with that done, as you can see, this is also a prefab, as it is blue. So I'm gonna right click, unpack the prefab, and then I'm gonna go to the textures and drag and drop the textures. So I already have set up. This will be the albedo, this is the normal map, and the rest you don't really need. But anyways, I'm gonna drag in the materials just like that. This is really basic thing, making materials and all that, so I'm not gonna cover that. And this will be the sleeve. So as you can see, now we have a really amazing 3D model, and it's free. It has the license thing on and all that. I guess here somewhere, if you go to the more information, there will be a license, as you can see, CC attribute, so and all that. So good to go. All right, next thing, if I play the game right now, you will see that this 3D model is attached to the camera, and as you can see, we look around, he does that. We can also run around with that. Of course, it looks really bad because of no animation and is lifeless and all that. So we're gonna fix that by using the animations. Now the thing is that if I go back to the source, and in there we have the animation, right? So there is a full animation. We want clips of that animation, so we will have to clip it out. I already have done that, so I'm gonna remove all of these because I want to do that in front of you. So as you can see, we have this one big animation. We're gonna clip it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this as is, and I'm gonna plus sign just like that, and I'm gonna rename it to idle. And you are gonna go ahead and scrub through where you find the good pose of idle. This one looks good as idle, I guess. This one actually looks good, but we're gonna leave idle from now. We're gonna go ahead and search for reload first. We're gonna make the reload animation first. So I'm gonna go ahead and come over here and see, this one is the fire, and this is where the reload starts. So I'm gonna keep that over there, bring it back all the way, and see, this is the reload animation going on, and reload finished, and bam. So this is our reload animation. All right, there we go, and it loops and all that. Good. Now I'm gonna go ahead and plus sign again, and this one will be fire, and I'm gonna go ahead and bring it back just like that. So there we go, he fires. So you can see, this is a fire animation. Amazing. We have reload and a fire. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and say plus sign again, and this one will be aim, or we can leave that and we can make that manually. So as you can see, I cannot basically find any idle animation in there. All right, so we will have to make the idle animation by ourselves. So how we do that is by going to the and say apply, because you have to apply that, otherwise it's not gonna work, it's not gonna get saved. So I'm gonna go to the arms, and I'm gonna go to window, animation. All right, and it's gonna open up this new tab. I have just dragged it over here, and I'm gonna select this guy. And yeah, first you have to first you have to add in the animator controller over here. So I'm gonna go to the project and I'm gonna go ahead and say right click, create an animator controller so that it controls all the animations. I'm gonna go ahead and say player, and I'm gonna select the arms, drag that in there just like that. With the animator controller, I'm gonna go ahead and double click the animator controller. As you can see, we open up this window over here, animator, and we basically don't have any animation in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and simply drag this guy in there, and we have now some animations. This is the big animation, that whole animation. This is the reloading animation. This is the fire animation. Now if I go to the animation window, actually, as you can see, we have some things going on in here, a really whole lot of things. This basically is the animation. All right, so this is the whole animation. If I go ahead and play the animation, you will see that he will do all that animation. We cannot edit this, I guess. This is a read only, but I'm gonna go ahead and click over here and say create new clip. This will be a new animation. I'm gonna rename it to idle, and as you can see, everything stops, and this is a brand new animation. I'm gonna go ahead and click this sign so that we can make our own new animation, and I'm gonna go ahead and select the arms over here, and I'm gonna rotate it, and basically you have to set it to pose in which it looks like he is holding the gun idle and all that. So maybe somewhat like this, and now you can of course take as much time as you want, but this, yeah, okay, sorry. There we go. So this scene, basically this looks good to me. I guess this looks idle. I can bring this over here a little bit, over here, maybe down, and you can of course take as much time as you want. I'm not gonna waste my time over here, so I'm gonna go ahead and click that over here. Okay, bring it down. Make sure this is recording. This is the first keyframe, and I guess this one will be good to go. I don't know. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good. And I'm gonna go ahead and just copy these guys and go and scrub through and make it 1 second. And here's 1 second. I'm gonna paste that over here. So this is the whole animation, idle animation. And I'm gonna go to the midpoint and I'm gonna make it move little down just like this. So it's gonna just add in a breathing effect just like that. And it's gonna loop in. If it's too low, I'm gonna move it little up just like that. And it's gonna subtle breathing effect, as you can see, and I think it looks good. So this one will be the idle animation. Now if I go back to the animator, as you can see, there is a new idle animation over here. Same goes for walking. You can add in a new walking animation. So but I'm gonna go ahead and use the same animation, I guess, or you can just go ahead and say create new walk. This will be walking animation. I'm gonna go ahead and select this guy. Somewhat like this. I'm not an animator, right? I'm gonna copy these guys, but I'm just giving you a real quick idea. So I guess he should move kind of like that, I guess. So as you can see, he is kind of walking, right? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make it a little faster. So select all of these and bring it out, bring it in just like that. So he's gonna do that faster. So I guess he is walking right now. So we have these animations right now. All right, idle, and I'm gonna delete this one for now because I don't need that whole animation. I'm gonna set this to default state. So this is the default state, that is idle animation. I'm gonna go ahead and rearrange them. This is the walk animation. And now we have to transition between these all animations, right? So how do we do that is by right clicking, make transition, and make transition to walk. And same goes for walk to idle. Now we're gonna leave them for now, and we're gonna only focus on these two idle. Now we have these two animations. Now we have to transition between these two animations on some certain condition. So for the condition, I'm gonna go to the parameters and say plus sign and say float, or yeah, float, and I'm gonna go ahead and rename this to magnitude. If float basically is point value, so 0.0, and I'm gonna go ahead and say if magnitude is greater than 0.1, we're gonna go to the walk animation. If it is less than 0.1, we're gonna come back to the idle animation. Simple as that. Now let's see if it is working or not. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'm gonna go ahead and play the game. Play the game and see if the idle animation is being played or not. So as you can see, he is doing the idle animation just fine. If I go ahead and set the magnitude value to 1, he starts doing the walk animation. Simple as that. Now we have to control this value of the magnitude using some code. Now of course you should know by now that we don't do any coding because we have Playmaker. Again, if you don't have Playmaker, you can go ahead and buy it from Asset Store, or you can download it for free. The link will be in the description box below, and let's get going. I'm gonna go to the player, go ahead and say add component, FSM. This basically is Playmaker. If you have imported Playmaker properly, I'm gonna go ahead and say edit, and I'm gonna go ahead and say get axis vector. Now get axis vector basically means it is already set to horizontal and vertical. Horizontal, vertical basically are WASD, and it's already set for you. You only have to store the vector, which is direction. I'm gonna store it to a new variable called vec. We don't actually need that. We actually need to store this magnitude. This magnitude is the one that we need. So I'm gonna go ahead and say new variable, and I'm gonna store the magnitude into new variable called magnitude with some capital N and I, so that so that yeah. Okay, and then if I go to the variable, and if I go to the magnitude, and I'm gonna go to the expector, and if I go to the controls, you can see now the value of the magnitude over here. Now if I play the game, we are gonna go to the start state 1, with the state 1. Alright, so as you can see, the magnitude value is 0 right now. If I press W, you will see that the value becomes 1. If I release W, it becomes 0. Alright, if I press S, A, D, as you can see, it transitions from 0 to 1. That is really amazing. That is what we want. We're gonna go ahead and set the value of this magnitude equal to this magnitude. So whenever we press W, this is gonna become 1, and we're gonna do the walk animation. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. I'm gonna go ahead and say set animator float. As the name suggests, it is gonna set the animator float, but it gives us an error, which is the animator float. The game object requires animator component, and the player actually does not has any animator, because the animator is on the top of this guy over here, the arm. So I'm gonna go ahead, instead of user owner, I'm gonna specify the game object, and the game object that we're talking about is the arms. And there we go. Now it does not gives us any error. In the parameter, we're gonna use the mag, which is this one, and we're gonna set the value equal to the magnitude. And I'm gonna set this to every frame. Every frame basically means every second. We're gonna do that. And now if I play the game, make sure the has exit time is false. Make sure you do that, otherwise it's gonna complete the whole animation and then transition to that animation. That is not what we want. So anyways, if I play the game, select the arms so that we can see what is happening in the animations. So as you can see, he's doing the idle animation. If I walk, he's gonna do the walk animation. That animations really sucks right now, but I'm not an animator, and that is not the point of this video. The only point of this video is to how to make the FPS movement system. So movement is happening, we are walking, and we come back to the idle animation, we go to the walk animation, and everything is properly working. Good. I like it. Okay, I forgot to make the aiming animation, so let's just go ahead and real quick do that. And I'm gonna go ahead and select this guy again, go to animation, say new animation, and this one will be aim. I'm gonna go to here where I have stored all the animations, so I'm gonna say aim, just like that. So we have new animation, make it that, and basically this is the aiming animation right here. I'm gonna go ahead and move it back a little bit so that it does that. But basically this is the animation. This is right in the center of the screen. Alright, so yeah, you don't have to do anything else. And this one basically will be aim idle animation. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this guy and make it to 1 second, and it's gonna repeat it just like that. We don't have to make the transition from idle to that, because Unity can Unity can do that by itself, so we don't have to give any shit about that, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, save it, and bam, now we have, as you can see, it is right in the center of the screen, and it looks like he is doing the aiming, right? So we don't have to worry about anything. So the things are done. Let's go ahead and make the aiming mechanics right now. So how do we aim? Well, normally when we right click, the person goes into the aiming. So we're gonna go ahead and double click over here and say get mouse button down, which basically means when we press a mouse button, the mouse button is left click or right click. Yeah, right click. So we're gonna set this right click, and we're gonna say new event aim. So whenever we press the right click, we're gonna go to the aim. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Just right click over here and say add transition, add aim, add a new state over here, and just click it over here, just like that, right? Okay, in here what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and say first we have to make the transition from these guys to the aim. Make transition from idle to aim, walk to aim, and then aim to idle, just like that, and aim to walk, just like that. looks really weird, but it's really simple. Now we have to of course make a condition over here, so we're gonna go ahead and this time we're gonna add in a bool basically is true or false. We're gonna call this one aim. So if aim is true, we're gonna go from idle to aim with no has exit time, and if aim is false, we're gonna come back. Same goes over here. So if aim is true, has exit time false, has exit time false. If aim is false, come back. But if I'm gonna add in one new condition over here, so if magnitude is less than 0.1, which means we are not pressing WSD, so we're gonna come back to the idle from aim. But if we are pressing WSD, which is when magnitude is greater than 0.1, instead of going back to the idle, we're gonna go back to the walk. I guess this is really simple. If I play the game right now, we should see some progress over here. So let me see. As you can see, he's doing the idle animation. If I press this, as you can see, he goes to the aim. If I go ahead and come back, he goes to the idle animation. I double clicked over here. You don't have to worry about anything. So as you can see, easy transition, and he comes back to the walking animation if I'm pressing WSD. So yeah, everything is properly working. Yeah, amazing. Now the only thing we have to do is we have to control this aiming over here, this aiming boolean. So that is by going back to the player, and in here we're gonna say set animator bool this time, because yeah, it's boolean right now. So instead of doing that, say simply specify the game object, again this guy, and the boolean is aim, and we're gonna set this to true, just like that. Not every frame, because we're gonna set this to true, right? And it's gonna keep on true. And I'm going to say get mouse button down again. So when we press the right click again, it means we're gonna come out of the aim. Oops, right? So I'll say unaim. I don't know what's called, unaim and aim. Yeah, you can make it anything you want. Unaim, bam, go back, and I'm gonna copy this guy, and I'm gonna paste this guy over here, and make sure this is false when we are in the idle state. All right. So this basically is the idle state with an LE, not EL. Idle, and this is the aiming. And from the aim, of course, we can go to the fire and all that. So we're gonna make that. But for now, little steps. So let's see if everything is properly working or not. So we should do some aiming animation. Bam! If I press the right click, yeah, baby, it's working, yo, baby. And we can of course transition from here to there really smoothly, and everything I guess is properly working, and I love it. I really do. Next thing is to make some firing mechanics. So how do we make the fire mechanics? Let's go ahead and add a new state over here. This one will be called fire. So how do we make the fire? Well, if we are in the aiming, and if we or we can just use this one over here. So copy, and if we press the left click, which is the firing button over here, so we're gonna say, instead of unaim, we're gonna say fire, and make a transition to fire. Same goes over here. So I'm gonna copy this guy, paste it in the idle, because we do want to fire in the idle, and we're gonna go ahead and do that, just like that. Simple as that. All right. So whenever we click, we're gonna come in here, and when we release the click, we release the right click, we're gonna come back. So we can say get mouse button up, which is this one, the left one. We're gonna say simply finished, and we're gonna come back to the idle. We're gonna come back to the idle, or no, we're not gonna come back to the idle. We're gonna go ahead and say finished, and I'm gonna go ahead and say right click, create a new add new state, and we're gonna go in there, and in here we are gonna decide. So we're gonna check whether or not we are in the aim or not. So how do we do that? Is by say get animator bool. Simply go ahead and say specify the game object, drag that in there, and we're gonna check whether or not aim, and we're gonna store the aim inside of new variable called aim. All right, and then we're gonna check. So we can say bool test, and we're gonna test the bool aim. So if it is true, we're gonna go to the aim. If it is false, we're gonna go to idle. I hope you're understanding what we're doing over here. I'm gonna go through what I have just done over here. So when we release the mouse button, we're gonna come in this state in which we're gonna get this boolean. If this boolean is true, which we store in this boolean, if it is true, we're gonna come in here, which is aim, and if it is false, we're gonna come back to the idle. Simple as that. In here, in the firing, we're gonna go ahead and set animator boolean. Copy this one, paste it over here, and this time we're gonna make another boolean over here. So add boolean, this is called fire, and here is the firing animation. Now I'm gonna go ahead and double click this guy and make sure this is loop timed because we wanna loop this guy. Apply that, and I have to do the same thing over here. Loop, loop, loop. All right, everything's properly working. Now if fire is true, we're gonna go from I aim to fire, walk to fire, and idle to fire. All right, if and only if fire is true, if fire is true, if fire is true, fire is true, fire is true. Okay, so if fire is true, we're gonna come in here in the firing animation, and we're gonna come out if that is false. I'm gonna simply go back to idle, or I'm gonna go back to the aim. All right, this time only. Magnitude if fire is false, and if also aim is false, so we're gonna go in there. If fire is false, but if aim is true, has user times false, has user times false, has user times false, and has user times false. So okay, and in the firing over here, we're gonna set the boolean of, as you can see, there's no parameter over here, so I'm gonna come back and say edit. So to refresh it, edit, refresh it, and bam. Okay, shit. I'm gonna go ahead and say fire. Just rename it to yourself. It's not that big deal, you know. Okay, that is done. I'm gonna copy this guy, and I'm gonna come back in here, and we're gonna say set this to false when we get out of the firing. Okay, that was something that we just did over there, and let's see if that thing that we just did there is worth or not. So if everything is properly working or not. He's doing the idle animation, he's doing the aiming animation, and he is doing the firing animation, as you can see. Bam. And we release it, and as you can see, the aim is true, we're gonna come in there. And now as you can see, the aim is false, we're gonna go back to the idle. So everything is basically properly working. He is doing that animation, firing, and he comes back and he also does that firing animation over here. Really amazing. I am loving it. So this was a tutorial on how to set up the animations of the FPS movement system and all that. So we set up the FPS movement system as well as the 3D model and all the animations. We made some animations by ourselves. In the next video, we are going to go ahead and take care of the shooting mechanics, and believe me, it's really simple. It's really simple. So yeah, if you don't want to miss that out, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and there is some probability that I already have uploaded that video. In that case, you can click the link in the description box below, which says watch the full playlist, in which you can find the second part of this tutorial video. And again, if you don't want to miss any future videos, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon. It is free, but it really means a lot for me. So for me, please do that, and I will see you in my next video. Peace out.